When I say sports, I really should kind of be a little bit more specific. I'm a big football fan and a basketball fan. And one of the things that I've observed over the years, particularly at the professional level and the collegiate level, is that there's no game won or lost and then next day go to practice. People on the outside or lay people may think that that's how it works. We play the game yesterday and then we go to practice today to prepare for the next game. But it really doesn't work that way, because there's got to be a basis for practice. And the basis for practice is studying the film from the game. So we look at this film and we're able to look at ourselves in isolation, but look at ourselves in conjunction with everybody else on the court or on the field or on the diamond, on the ice, whatever it is. So now, based on our studying, dissection, breakdown, analyzing of or analysis of film, now there's a basis for practice for the next game. Well, I ask every leader in this room right now, rhetorically, how often do you study your film? How often do you go to the film room and just watch you? See, in other words, I don't mean so much a camera following you around, but I mean that self-reflection, that self-assessment, that self-adjustment. I watched attentively the slides. I listened to all the presentations as if I was an employee in the district, in the state. And the one thing that jumped out at me over everything I heard was the 20% who continued to say no. That stayed with me. The 20% of young people who continue to say no to education for whatever the reason. In some cases, when we look at how young people are living, the hand that was dealt at birth, the environment upon which they live, the inability to dream big, because I don't have a basis for dreaming big, because my world is this little boundary that's around me and I don't realize I have access to more. So there's 20% here, but replicated throughout America and in so many other cities and in states or cities and towns much higher. So within this theme of everyone a leader, in the question, how often do I study my film? Well, each of us, including me as guests today, have to personalize the 20%. What is it about my performance in yesterday's game that 20% said no to this? If you and I don't personalize it, then it becomes very difficult to rectify. But when we personalize it, it makes us dig that much deeper toward ensuring that youngster wants to continue and ultimately fly. So the game film is critical, meaning once again, stopping, just hitting the pause button of our practice, hitting the pause button of life, and just analyzing our film by way of self-reflection, by way of self-assessment, and by way of self-adjustment. Literally every day, while asking the question of us, who am I, as it relates to our children? Particularly that 20%, and I know that the 20% doesn't apply to everybody in the room. But whatever the challenges are that we may have in our respective buildings, our respective departments, etc., who am I as it relates to those young people? What am I about? What's my purpose as it relates to those young people? And what is my most recent evidence? What is it that I did yesterday that confirms who I said I am and what I said I'm about, my purpose?